Hi, welcome to the Ohio County Public Library Storytime Online. My name is Miss Jennifer, and we've been talking about community helpers this month. You know, previously we've had a visit from a mail carrier and a nurse practitioner. Do you remember the signs for mail carrier? Do you remember the sign for that? You're going to take your thumb, mail carrier. So, mail carrier. And then last week we learned about the sign for doctor. Remember, for a doctor, it's kind of like how they take your pulse. You're going to take your fingers and you're going to tap your wrist. So doctor, so mail carrier and doctor are our signs. Today we're going to be visiting a farm, and we're really fortunate to live in a community where so much of our county is covered in farmland. It is so beautiful. Farms can be small or they can be large. They can either have animals or they can just grow plants. But farms are so very important. Today we're going to be meeting one of the farmers that works in our community, Mr. Chad Porter. This morning with one of our community's local farmers. And you know, we've been learning some sign language as we've gone along through the summer. So I wanted to teach you the sign for farmer. To do the sign for farmer, you're going to kind of open up your fingers. You're going to put your thumb by the side of your face, and it's farmer. Can you do that? Farmer. So I am so excited. We have Mr. Chad Porter here, and I wanted to know a little bit about this amazing farm that I've come to. We are in, what area of Ohio County are we located right now?
Rochester area. Yep.
We're in the Rochester area. Beautiful, beautiful countryside. And I was wondering, how long have you been doing this kind of work? How long have you been a farmer?
Basically all my life. I'm 46 years old, but you know, I really got serious right after high school since 1992.
So was being a farmer something that you thought about when you were younger?
All I ever wanted to do was farm.
So were your
Yes.
You come from a family
Yes,
of
my dad
farmers.
started this farm.
Oh wow, that's so amazing. I can't imagine growing up around this beautiful, beautiful countryside and all these amazing big machines. Are there special kinds of tools or equipment that you need to be a farmer? I'm seeing a lot of kind of big things.
Oh yes, there's all types of different pieces of equipment we use. Got a combine right there. We have two of them, which you got to have. You're going to raise corn, soybeans, and wheat like we do. Sprayers, tractors, I mean, the list goes on and on.
Do people who, I know that farms can come on in all different sizes. Some farms are small and some farms are large. In order to have a large farm, though, it seems like you were saying that you would almost have to have some of this really big equipment.
Oh, most definitely.
All right.
Most definitely.
Well, as we've been talking about community helpers, how do farmers help our community?
The main thing is to help feed the community. That's probably the biggest part we do. You know, I serve on a lot of local boards in this area that help the community and basically feeding everybody.
Exactly. So not all farms necessarily have like cows and chickens and horses and pigs. A lot of farms are big. It's kind of like a business. We're trying to grow corn and soybeans so that we can feed people, so that we can send that product off to different big factories where they make a lot of the food that we eat. So farmers are essential. They are really, really important. Well, it seems to me, as I have been here for a few minutes, that a farm is a really busy place.
Very busy, especially right now. We're in the heat of harvest right now, and we've got combines running, trucks going, and it's a very busy time working on feeding everybody in the community, feeding the United States, and working on feeding the whole world.
That's right. I was noticing a lot of the corn, which was just green. It seemed like just the other day has already turned kind of a brownish color, and that means it's ready to go, doesn't it?
It's time to go, and I need to get busy.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Porter.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you later. So we just got finished meeting Mr. Porter, one of our local and area farmers, and we are joined right now with his wife, Jennifer Porter, because being part of a farm family is doing it together. I don't think you can have a farm of this size and do it, one farmer doing it all by himself. He depends on his family, and their families are very much a part of the work that goes on a local farm. And so Miss Porter is also one of our area's school teachers. And so we are doubly blessed by having her as one of our community helpers to share with us today. And she's going to be sharing with us one of my favorite farm stories. It's kind of a silly farm story, but it's Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. And so I'm so excited. Thank you, Miss Porter, for sharing that book with us.
You're welcome. I'm glad that the boys and girls are here on our farm with us today to learn a little bit about farming and to enjoy a story. Farmer Brown has a problem. His cows like to type. All day long he hears click, clack, moo, click, clack, moo, click, click, clickety, clack, moo. At first, he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type. Click, clack, moo, click, clack, moo, clickety, clack, moo. Then, he couldn't believe his eyes. Dear Farmer Brown, this barn is very cold at night. We'd like some electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. What? It was bad enough. The cows had found the old typewriter in the barn. Now they wanted electric blankets? No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets. So the cows went on strike. They left a note on the barn door. Sorry, we're closed. No milk today. No milk today, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard the cows, busy at work. Click, clack, moo, click, clack, moo, clickety, clack, moo. The next day, he got another note. Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too. They'd like electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows. Oh my goodness. The cows were growing impatient with the farmer. They left a new note on the barn door. Closed. No milk, no eggs. No eggs, cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard them. Click, clack, moo, click, clack, moo, clickety, clack, moo. Cows that type, hens on strike. Whoever heard of such a thing? How can I run a farm with no milk and no eggs? Farmer Brown was furious. Farmer Brown got out his own typewriter. Dear cows and hens, there will be no electric blankets. You are cows and hens. I demand milk and eggs. Sincerely, Farmer Brown. Duck was a neutral party, so he brought the ultimatum to the cows. My goodness, I hope they like it. The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered around the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. All night long, Farmer Brown waited for an answer. Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note. Dear Farmer Brown, we will exchange our typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the barn door, and we will send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows. Farmer Brown decided this was a good deal. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come with the typewriter. The next morning, he got a note. Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We'd like a diving board. Sincerely, the ducks. Click, clack, quack, click, clack, quack, clickety, clack, quack. Oh no. And that duck must have gotten his diving board.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that story. It's one of my favorites. It's pretty funny if you can imagine all of that going on a farm. Poor Farmer Brown.
Poor farmer.
But like I was sharing a minute ago, being part of a farm family means that everybody pitches in. And I wanted to share with you one of my favorite stories, which is called Paul and the Cows. Here's Paul. Let's get his cows up here. We've got 1, 2 cows. You see, Paul was just the farmer's son, and one of his responsibilities each day was to make sure that the cows left the field and went to the barn at night. And so Paul felt he felt a great deal of responsibility with having this very important job as being part of his farm family. And so one afternoon he went out to the field and he started yelling at those cows. Shoo, cows, shoo, go to the barn, go to the barn, go to the barn. But the cows would not go to the barn. And Paul didn't know what to do. This was his only job. He wanted to do it so well. And so Paul sat down and he started to cry. What am I gonna do? I can't get the cows in the barn. When all of a sudden, along came Paul's dog. And his dog said, Paul, why are you crying? And Paul said, well, I'm crying because the cows won't go to the barn. Well, I'll help, said his dog. And so Paul's dog went out into the field and he started barking at those cows. He'd chase around those cows all out in the field, but the cows would not go to the barn. And so Paul's dog came and sat down next to Paul, and the dog started to cry. Well, pretty soon along came the cat, and the cat said, Dog, why are you crying? And the dog said, well, I'm crying because Paul's crying because the cows won't go to the barn. Well, I'll help, said the cat. And so the cat went out into the field and she purred and she rubbed up against the cows and batted her eyes and she said, Pretty please, won't you go to the barn? But the cows would not go to the barn. And so the cat came and sat down next to the dog and the cat began to cry. Pretty soon along came Duck. And Duck said, Cat, why are you crying? And Cat said, well, I'm crying because the dog's crying, because Paul's crying, because the cows won't go to the barn. Well, I'll help, said Duck. And so Duck went out into the field and she started to flap her wings. And she flapped her wings and quacked at those cows, but the cows would not go to the barn. And so Duck came and she sat down next to Cat and she started to cry. Well, pretty soon along came Bee. And Bee said, Duck, why are you crying? And Duck said, well, I'm crying because Cat's crying, because Dog's crying, because Paul's crying, because the cows won't go to the barn. Well, I'll help, said Bee. And so Bee flew out to the field and he buzzed around and he buzzed around and he landed on one of the cows and he stung him. Woo! Woo! Said the cow. And the cow started taking off running for the barn. Well, when this cow saw that one running for the barn, he took off running too. And the cows ended up in the barn and Bee was the hero of the day because Bee helped the cows get to the barn. The end. Isn't that a fun story? I love the story of Paul and the cows. I have one more story to share with you today. It's one of my favorites. Have you ever thought, let's see if I can get my story back here. Have you ever thought about how much noise there is on a farm? Sometimes it can almost sound musical. So let's do kind of a musical story. This story is called Farmyard Beat. See what that is? Some little chicks. Peep, peep, peep. Chicks can't sleep. Chicks can't sleep. Chicks can't sleep because they got that beat. Peep, 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 peep. Peep, 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 peep. All that peeping wakes up. Whoops. There went one. All that peeping wakes up. Now what animal is it? Sheep. Wakes up sheep. Sheep can't sleep. Sheep can't sleep. Sheep can't sleep because they got that beat. Rat-tat, rat-tat-tat, rat-tat, tatty-tat-tat. All that racket wakes up. Now what animal? A cat. Cat can't sleep. Cat can't sleep. Cat can't sleep because he's heard that beat. Purr meow, purr meow. All that racket wakes up. Who do you think's next? A cow. Cow can't sleep. Cow can't sleep. Cow can't sleep because he's got that beat. Swish clank, swish swish clank, swish clank, swish swish clank. All that racket wakes up. Now he's waking up. Shoo, shh, shh. Look who's coming. Wonder who's coming next. Hoo, hoo. Lantern swinging. Hoo, hoo. Who do you think's heard all that racket? Could it be the farmer? It was. Farmer Sue. Sue can't sleep. Sue can't sleep. Sue can't sleep because she's heard that beat. Sue looks here and Sue looks there. No one here or anywhere. With a yawn, she thinks she'll go back to sleep when... Beep, beep, beep. Chicks can't help it. They got that beat. And so, everybody's awake. Tat, tat, tatty, tat, tat. Purr, meow, purr, meow. Swish, clank, swish, swish, clank. Hoo, hoo, jig, jig, jiggity, jig. Everyone's dancing to that beat until they fall fast asleep in a heap. But someone's awake. Cock-a-doodle-doo! I got that beat. The end. Farmyard beat. There's so many wonderful sounds in a farm and in a farmyard. I think that Miss Porter is going to join us for one more story as we get ready. You know, part of being in a farm family is maybe being a farm kid. Do you have some children that have a special story that they love for you to read?
I sure do. I have two little girls, and one of their favorite stories about farming and farm animals is Duck on a Bike.
All right.
And so this is a silly story about a silly duck that does a lot of silly things. And my girls love this story, and I want to share it with you guys. Duck on a Bike. That duck is thinking. He's thinking about something. One day down on the farm, Duck got a wild idea. I bet I could ride a bike, he thought. He waddled over to where the boy parked his bike, climbed on, and began to ride. At first, he rode very slowly, and he wobbled a lot, but it was fun. Duck rode past Cow and waved to her. "Hello, Cow," said Duck. "Moo," said Cow. But what she thought was a duck on a bike. That's the silliest thing I've ever seen. Then Duck rode past Sheep. "Hello, Sheep," said Duck. "Bah," said Sheep. But what she thought was, he's going to hurt himself if he's not careful. Duck was riding better now. He rode past Dog. "Hello, Dog," said Duck. "Woof," said Dog. But what he thought was, that's a mighty neat trick. Then Duck rode past cats. "Hello, cat," said Duck. "Meow," said Cat. But what she thought was, "I wouldn't waste my time riding a bike." Duck pedaled a little faster. He rode past Horse. "Hello, Horse," said Duck. "Nay," said Horse. But what he thought was, "You're still not as fast as me, Duck." Duck rang his bell as he rode toward Chicken. "Hello, Chicken," said Duck. "Cluck, cluck," said Chicken. But what she thought was, "Watch where you're going, Duck." Then Duck rode past Goat. "Hello, Goat," said Duck. "Meh," said Duck. But what he thought was, "I'd like to eat that bike." Duck stood on the seat and rode past Pig and Pig. "Hello, Pigs," said Duck. "Oink," said Pig and Pig. But what they thought was, "Duck is such a show-off." Then Duck rode no hands past Mouse. "Hello, Mouse," said Duck. "Squeak," said Mouse. But what he thought was, "I wish I could ride a bike just like Duck." Suddenly, a whole bunch of kids came down the road on bikes. They were in such a hurry that they didn't see Duck. They parked their bikes by the house, went inside. Oh, those animals are looking and they're thinking. Now all the animals had bikes. They rode around and around the barnyard. "This is fun," they all said. "Good idea, Duck." Then they put the bikes back by the house. No one knew that on that afternoon there had been a cow, a sheep, a dog, a cat, a horse, a chicken, a goat, 2 pigs, a mouse, and a duck on a bike. The end.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Miss Porter. Thank you for
welcome.
letting us come to your farm,
Mhm.
and thank you for the way that you and your family are such wonderful helpers in our community. We really appreciate all the work that you do. Before we get ready to go, though, I'm going to share one last song with you. This is a fun song that we like to do. A lot of times whenever we're talking about chickens or something like that, we'll do "Down on the Farmyard," okay, or "Down in the Barnyard." So we're going to do, it goes down in the barnyard, so we're going to kind of point over our shoulder early in the morning, so stretch like you're waking up. See the little chickies, so you're going to put your hand over your eyes, standing in a row. See the busy farmer, so you're going to kind of put your thumbs up like you've got suspenders on. See the busy farmer giving them their breakfast. We're going to shake them some feed, and then cheep, 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 cheep. So you're going to flap your wings, and off they go. So let's do "Down in the barnyard early in the morning. See the little chickies standing in a row. See the busy farmer giving them their breakfast. Cheep, 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 cheep. Off they go." Can you do that again with me? "Down in the barnyard early in the morning. See the little chickies standing in a row. See the busy farmer giving them their breakfast. Cheep, 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 cheep. Off they go." Good job. Well, I hope that you'll continue to join us next week as we explore more of the community helpers that live and work right here in Ohio County. But it's time for our hands to give thanks. Are you ready? Our hands give thanks with a clap, clap, clap. Our feet give thanks with a tap, tap, tap. Clap, clap, clap. Tap, tap, tap. We roll them together and we wave goodbye, and we'll see you next week.